So I saw a lot of my favorite YouTubers doing this Draw My Life thing, and I decided to give it a go because I got completely addicted to watching them. They're so moving, and some of your favorite YouTubers, you get a lot of depth into their personalities and why they make videos. And plus, people on Twitter were saying I should make one, so hey, why not, right? I'll try to make it short and not a sob story because no one's had it completely easy and nobody's problem free with their life, but I'm a pretty happy dude. All right, so I was born in 1991 in Western Massachusetts. Pretty much got the same old story of I grew up, I didn't have too many friends because mostly for me it was because I was never in the same place. I didn't live in the same place for more than a year for a long time. We had it kind of tough financially. I mean, we were never living in house or anything. We were always living, me and my single mother. My father was never really part of the picture. It was kind of tough because I never really got to make too many friends, and my social skills kind of took a beating because of that, I think. I had my little things that I loved. I mean, when I was a kid, I loved James Bond. I still to this day want to grow up and be James Bond. I don't know. Since as far back as I can remember, I always had this really big problem with authority for some reason. I was always getting into trouble, and it wasn't even cool because I didn't have any friends to get into trouble with. I mean, I was the kid who was always running, screaming, and poking girls with sticks, and screaming really loudly at teachers. A victim of some pretty heavy bullying. I really don't want to get into a sob story, but yeah, I pretty much suffered physical beatings daily because I was the weird kid. I was pretty chubby because I would sit around and play video games all the time, but I loved it. I guess I just kind of figured live in my own little world of wanting to be James Bond or Banjo-Kazooie or something like that. And because at those times, the thing that really made me happy wasn't really hanging out with people as much as it was playing video games. So I ended up actually having to go to private school because I was failing out of public school. I think it wasn't until about my freshman year going there that I actually got a guitar. My step grandmother, who in my family we call my nanny, gave me an acoustic guitar. She quite recently passed away, and it was kind of interesting because I kind of had that added thing, she helped get me this guitar, and if I did something successful with music, then I would imagine that she would be proud of me, and I think that would be awesome. But at the end of the day, the main reason I picked up music and I started getting serious about it was because girls didn't like me and I wasn't getting laid nearly as much as I wished that I was, which was any more than none. And it was weird because it seemed to work out for me. I was learning really easy stuff. And I would sit on the bleachers and just kind of play by myself, and people would come and watch me and play and say hey, you're really good, you're really talented. And that was really the first time I ever had something that somebody came over to me and said hey, you're not a worthless human being. It was kind of nice. And then I think the turning point as far as music went, I went through my awkward Britney Spears, NSYNC, Aaron Carter phase, but then I got I think I got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater soon after that, and I slowly got really into punk. My first real band was the Dead Kennedys. And then I went, I heard Police Truck off the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater soundtrack, and I went and listened to all their other stuff. Eventually, then I got kicked out of private school because I was failing out too. So then I ended up having to go back to public school. I ran with some kind of bad kids. We kind of got into a lot of trouble in a lot of different places, but again, I had such a problem with authority. I don't know. But that's when I started really playing music. I was in a few bands. I was in a death metal band. I never really saw that it would end up getting me anywhere. I knew I was pretty much set with the fact that I was probably going to work a desk job. And then graduated high school. I was one of the few of my friends who ended up actually doing that. So I took 2 years off and I worked at a Six Flags in entertainment, and I worked in worked for the Wiggles. I danced and sang. I don't have any shames, and I like kids. I think kids are awesome. One of I've said it before. The one thing I want to do in my life is inspire people. I want to inspire people to be better than they are. Shortly after that, I started up my YouTube channel. It was never ever supposed to be a thing that I wanted a lot of people to see. It was almost like a video kind of journal so that I could watch myself progress. But for some reason, after a few months, it started picking up. People started watching me and saying, hey, you're an amazing player. And this is something that I never, imagined. I didn't feel like I was an amazing player. I felt I was going to be totally buried because I was, influenced by some of the other video game guitarists, Metal Daniel 03 and CS Guitar 89. And, just after, my first year, I so many great things happened. I got noticed by, a lot of, the composers of the games that I was doing. And that summer, I was asked... know, if I wanted to do a video game soundtrack, and I did a soundtrack for this game called OSR Unhinged. And you know, it was very simple. It wasn't really that good, I'll be honest, but I mean, it made me realize that that's what I want to do. I want to make video game music. Like, it goes all the way back to when the first music I listened to and really loved was video game music. It all kind of made sense. And then up until recently, I've had like some of the craziest like opportunities. Like, I got to play guitar on The Binding of Isaac. Honestly, it's kind of weird. I mean, I kind of grew up, always being reprimanded and disciplined and stuff like that. And I kind of just assumed that that's how life was always going to go. And YouTube really kind of launched me to a place of not complete self-hatred and depression and everything. Like, it's great. I mean, being able to inspire you and reading all of your comments, and like, I mean, there's nothing in the world that brings me out of any kind of bad mood than just going through the comments that you guys leave me. You guys really turned my life around in a really weird way that, I mean, it kind of let me, never grow up and never take life seriously, just like I never have, and, still be able to make it. So, and I'm hoping to, just keep continuing making music for all of you guys, because, I mean, just like music has given me everything that I've given it, you guys have given me everything that I've given you, so, and more, so I can't even begin to thank you. So here's some much more video game music in the future, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you so much, and here's a dick.